Hello, Benny the Irish Polyglot. I read your blog. It says, "Shocking Truth About Passive Listening." And you talked about how you thought that passive listening is something that doesn't work and is not a good method for language learning. Well, passive learning for me is my most used method and my best method. But there's a certain way to go about it. Like, you can't just listen to radio. Like, du hast Deutsch gelernt und du hast Radio gehört. Ja? Das ist ein Problem. First of all, the whole purpose of passive listening is so that you can memorize certain words and phrases or whatever without putting any effort into it. You know, what you gotta do, what I do anyways, I'm learning Mandarin Chinese and, Swahili right now. And I'm sure you're familiar with the Colloquial series and the Teach Yourself series. They have dialogues in them, and they start out real simple and small. I'll give you an example. Like, how are you? I'm good. Stuff like that start out right in the very beginning. And it comes with audio, both the Colloquial and Teach Yourself. They come with CDs with audio of these dialogues. And how I do passive listening, and how everyone I think should do it, is do it with dialogues like this. And you don't have to look it up first, you don't have to do none of that. Just play it and listen to it over and over and over while you're doing the dishes, while you're mowing the lawn, while you're in your car driving. Passive listening. You don't have to really be doing anything. But as long as it's like the same things over and over and over and over, your brain's naturally going to recognize patterns, naturally going to pick it up. And eventually, like a song, it's going to get stuck in your brain. And you're going to, memorize it. You'll just hear the same dialogue playing over and over and over again in your head. And then what you do after that is you go to your book, you look up that dialogue, and you figure out what all the words means, what all of it means. You have to put some active time into it. Can't be completely passive. And like I said, if you listen to radio or watch TV or whatever, it's something like different every time. So there's no way that your brain can really start to memorize stuff that well. It's a really bad method that way. But I mean, if you do a song in that language, listen to it over and over and over, dialogues over and over and over, and then you go look up the stuff, what it means, if you have the lyrics to the song. You can even do it with a movie, or let's say you have a DVD set of a show in a different language and you can subtitle it in that language, you can go look up the words. That's a good deal. Listen to that stuff over and over, and eventually your brain is going to start to, pick it up and memorize it without you doing anything. You could be doing something completely different, but the fact that your brain's always hearing it, it's going to pick that stuff up. And then you go and figure out what that stuff means, and that's not going to take very long, and you'll have this stuff learned. It'll become automatic because you've heard it so many times. I mean, I just don't get how it wouldn't work if you did it that way. It's always worked for me. And you even said that in your article, that listening to audio while you're sleeping and that kind of stuff is a load of crap. It's when you're asleep, your brain is still functional because you're still hearing. You hear 24/7 when you sleep. When you're awake, you're hearing. And your subconscious part of your brain is always alive, always going. It's always there processing information. So even though you're asleep, if you listen to the same stuff over and over and over, your brain is still going to process it, and it's still going to get memorized. I do it a lot. I listen to languages a lot when I sleep, and when I wake up in the morning, I have certain phrases and stuff stuck in my head. But like I said, you gotta listen to the same type of stuff over and over. I put 10 dialogues on my MP3 player, and then for one whole day I'll listen to to those ones repeating over. Just play them at random, 1 out of the 10, da 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 da, throughout the day. And then I go and I sit for a half hour to an hour and look up what all the words mean, and then I do the same thing the next day, until I know it all. So you have to have some, like I said, a little bit of active time, but you can do it mostly passive and learn a language. That's what I do. I constantly surround myself and expose myself to the language. And I think that's probably what you should do, and try that first before you completely discredit passive listening, because I think it'll work if you use that type of method.